So this is the Hollyland Pyro 5. This isn't going to be a deep spec breakdown, but more so an actual field test review and how I used it for my purposes. I took this thing on a travel trip to see how it actually performed in real world conditions. Full disclosure, Hollyland did send me this to review, but they have no say to what the output of this video will be. That said, this is just my experience and how I went about testing it, and I just wanted to share what I found beneficial and what fell short. Let's get into it. For context, I've never used an external monitor on any of my personal camera rigs before, so this is the first time I will be using one. That said, I went into this trip with a few key questions I wanted to answer. Number 1, is the screen clear and visible in bright daylight conditions? Number 2, does it help me nail focus? Number 3, is it practical enough to bring on my travel shoots without getting in the way? And for all of this, I will be using my Lumix S9. Can we see the screen in bright conditions? Midday, no clouds, just sun. Normally my built-in camera screen is pretty difficult to see in these conditions. It's not like the worst, but it can be challenging. And when I wore my sunglasses, it's pretty much impossible to see. However, when I took out the Hollyland Pyro 5 monitor and attached to my camera, it was actually eye-opening. Quick note, the outdoor POV footage was filmed on a GoPro 8, so it doesn't really capture how bright the monitor actually is in sunlight. But in real use, I had no trouble seeing it outdoors. It was plenty bright in my opinion. A little spec note here, the screen brightness for this monitor is about 1500 nits, and for me, I believe that's plenty. Granted, this is still my first monitor, but I'm pretty impressed. I could actually see what I was shooting in pretty harsh and bright conditions. Next is focusing. Manual focusing on a small screen is sometimes a guessing game, even with a peak setting turned on. Now it could also be the settings in which I set it at, but with the Hollyland Pyro 5 monitor, I could clearly see what I was shooting and whether or not I was in focus. This was especially on the detailed shots or low contrast scenes. It's a quick press of the feature located on the menu tab and I was all set to go. So to me, using this monitor to focus was a lot more accurate, but perhaps I'm just blind and having a bigger monitor helped me overall. Let's talk practicality, especially when filming on the move and using this while traveling. Given that I haven't used monitors on my previous setups before, this was actually not as practical to carry around as I would have liked it to be. It was all partly because I didn't have all the correct components to kind of put it all together in a more efficient to carry around manner. So I used additional accessories which kind of made the camera more heavier and more bulkier at the same time. I'm still figuring out the best way to go about this, so I'll be sure to update that in the comments below. To note, the battery setup for this monitor, I got a larger battery and having it on there, it did definitely make it heavier. So perhaps in the future I would probably reconsider how I would arrange this. Also, I didn't know this, but when I received the package from Hollyland themselves, I didn't receive any cords or additional batteries or anything of that sort. So that's something that you would have to get separately. So aside from the convenient menu layout, another thing that the monitor has is the proxy recording. You'll do need an extra SD card to put in there. So setting up your proxy recording simultaneously as you press the record button on your camera takes a little bit of tweaking in the settings here. On the Lumix S9, I had to go into timecode settings. So switch HDMI timecode output to on, then head over to HDMI recording output and turn on the HDMI recording control. So once that's set, the Hollyland Pyro 5 automatically starts recording whenever your camera records. So the Hollyland Pyro 5 does include extra features that I didn't actually get to use, just because I don't have the other tools within their ecosystem to kind of test that out. But I think it is worth mentioning. If you're working in the Hollyland Pyro ecosystem, you can wirelessly transmit your camera feed to a monitor. There would be no cables needed in this regards. That's really super useful for teams on shoots, gimbal works, or multicam setups. But since I was filming solo, I kept it simple and just used an HDMI to connect it with my camera. So overall, this monitor was a really fun tool for me to try out. It definitely helped me see better, focus faster, and review shots better while in the field. The only downside I keep finding is that it's a bit heavy to kind of put on to the camera and makes it a lot more bigger than what I would like it to be. That said, I'll definitely be using it again just because I've been exposed to the benefits of using one now. Be sure to check out the Hollyland Pyro 5 monitor, links below. But yeah, thanks for watching and bye for now.